2021, Americans had played 16.1% more rounds of golf than they had by the end of the previous July. Given that this was at a time when many of us had been vaccinated and America was much more open than it had been the year before, this suggests to me that golf's newfound popularity was a product of the coronavirus, not an isolated symptom. The pandemic had sparked the golf bug in people, but once their eyes were opened to its numerous joys, they kept playing even as the normalcy of the world around them ebbed and flowed like the tides off Kiowa Island. This wasn't the first time we've turned to golf amid a crisis. During the twin calamities that were World War I and the Spanish flu pandemic, President Woodrow Wilson urged soldiers awaiting deployment to play golf in order to get exercise without becoming sick. One newspaper reported that members of golf clubs in and around Portland, Oregon, had, quote, declared their immunity from, end quote, Spanish flu due to the fact that, quote, golf tends toward health, end quote. Okay, so they weren't exactly following the science, to borrow a coronavirus-era phrase, but you've got to appreciate their enthusiasm. During the Great Depression, a surplus of then unused urban space led to a semi-out-of-nowhere interest in miniature golf, whose courses could be built anywhere and out of anything, as long as you laid some artificial turf over it all. American soldiers stuck in German POW camps during World War II played the game on makeshift holes using clubs donated by the Red Cross. For all the hay that's made about golf being elitist and inaccessible, it's remarkable the degree to which people can and have figured out ways to play it pretty much anywhere. It's golf's ability to foster ingenuity under duress, I think, that animated what I'm going to call the Great Coronavirus Golf Revival. For some context, the last time the sport saw an explosion in popularity, it was largely due to the emergence of Tiger Woods. While there had been countless professional golfers who were cool, Lee Trevino got his start as a country club cart attendant who hustled members on the side. John Daly became a folk hero for being a hard-drinking, long-hitting dude with a mullet. And wisecracking Chi-Chi Rodriguez was so cool that Devo put him on the cover of its first album. But Tiger was the first golfer to bring an imprimatur of cool to golf itself. For over a decade, he was the sport's center of gravity, and despite late career scandals, back injuries that eventually limited his ability to compete, and a car crash that nearly ended his life, as I write this in 2022, there's still no one who's managed to eclipse his fame. He's not the dominant force he once was, and the fact that the sport's most well-known player doesn't actually compete that much has left professional golf in a really weird place. Right now, the most famous pros can be categorized as A, oddball underdogs whose charisma can garner them little factional fandoms who freak out whenever they win some random tournament every 16 months, or B, flawless players who made some sort of Faustian bargain in which they traded their personalities for absolute golf perfection. There are enough players in Category A to keep golf interesting to watch, but without a single figure as its face, it lacks the ability it once had to bring people to the game. It was this absence of a Tiger-like force, though, that helped make room for golfers at the game's deeply amateur hobbyist margins to reshape it in their own image from the ground up. Golf fashion, once relegated to the realm of mall department stores, went nuts, with niche golf clothing brands popping up all over to inject both style and levity into a look that was once defined by ill-fitting khakis and bland, draping polo shirts. One company, Malbon, worked with Nike to adapt iconic Air Jordan silhouettes into golf shoes. Another, Metalwood Studio, mined the aesthetics of golf's past to create clothes that managed to be both genuinely fashion-forward and somehow an implicit parody of the big box fare of yore. This penchant for remixing and reimagining found its way into golf bags as well. The pandemic saw the ascent of the minimalist golf movement, whose practitioners favor short sets, usually consisting of 1 or 2 woods, maybe a hybrid, 3 or 4 irons, a wedge or 2, and a putter, well below the conventional 14 that most people bag these days, and carried their sticks rather than drove a cart. On Instagram, these players post photos of their setups, trading compliments about having bags that feature classic and now inexpensive clubs from the mid-2000s, whose time-tested durability and quality are as valuable on the course as any $1,000